Shalom Israel. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh. By Hashem Mashakum like Yahushai. It is to say Yahweh, being named the Heavenly Father, who the world called God, and Yahweh Shai, being named his only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. This is Brother Kesadia from the Jersey, Philly. Right, and through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Right, we back with another video. Another update, another Watchman alert to let you know what's going on in the earth. If you haven't been paying attention, Russia has been invaded this past week. A few days ago, about 4 days ago now, they was invaded by Ukraine. Now it's been an ongoing war, of course, since if I'm not mistaken, 2021. Right, this war, February 2021, between Russia and Ukraine, but that was really what some would call there's not a full scale war, right, so to speak, and things haven't become full scale just yet. But nevertheless, sides have been drawn. You have Russia and its allies, and you got Ukraine back behind America and NATO, and things continue to reach a scale or reach a point where, of course, it's going to be of no return. And ultimately, things have become, of no return. We know through the spirit that these nations are all going to be brought to war. They're all going to be brought to the Middle East. They're all going to be brought to chiefly nearby the land of Israel, to the Valley of Decision, which is the Valley of Jehoshaphat, Yahweh Shaphat, where he would judge those nations all together. And it would be the culmination of World War III, the peak of World War III. So we seeing that brewing up with Iran, and I'll speak about that later, Lord willing, between Iran and the Israelis, the Yarmulke men. But nevertheless, it's going to become, all of the world joining sides and join battle at that land. But currently, we have a big deal going on between Russia and Ukraine, like I mentioned. Now, let me see if I actually have this article pulled up as well. Right, I don't. Right, but nevertheless, like I had mentioned, actually, let me see real quick if they have it on this website. Right, give me 1 second. I want to go into the latest on what's going on over there. Right, so yeah, I don't, or they don't have, I should say. But nevertheless, like I mentioned it to you, right through the spirit. Right now, Ukraine has invaded Russia, and they invaded the Kursk region, and they pretty much took over 74 settlements, and which is more than Russia had taken over when they invaded Ukraine. So it's very odd and weird, through the spirit. Well, you may say it's weird, but even I may say it's weird, as I just mentioned, but you can see that the Lord definitely has things, it's all lining up, right? It's all lining up, but it's not really igniting, and that's kind of what I meant by weird or odd. It's odd to the natural man, but when you really think about it, as the Lord has mentioned through the spirit, all hell is not going to break loose in the earth until the elect is sealed. And that's in Revelation, the 7th chapter, and the 1st verse on down. So we understand that the elect has to be sealed. And then it's going to be massive judgment upon the earth. So just keep watching that. Be mindful of that. Now, I have an article I wanted to show you. Russia now this is leaked, right? This is leaked documents. This came out earlier today. So it says Russia ready to execute nuclear attacks on NATO targets, according to leaked documents. So this just shows you how much closer we are to the culmination or the end of the world, I should say, right? So when you feel like things are slow, trust and believe. The Most High, he's always working, right? He's always working. The Lord is always working, right? On the left hand and on the right. Right? The Most High is always bringing forth judgment upon the earth. Let me get this quick precept. So, let me get this quick precept. I want to bring this out in Revelation, the 16th chapter. Right? So, this Revelation chapter 16 and verse 14. For they are spirits of devils working miracles which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to the battle of that great day of Yahweh Almighty. So the Most High is sending forth spirits in the earth to deceive these nations, to deceive them, to bring them and bring all the kings of the east and all the kings of the earth together to go to war. So things is always going on. Now, this is an article by Tyler Durden, right? And like I said, this is posted early today at 5 p.m. or really earlier Wednesday, whenever you're watching this. It's August 14th. But it says Russia ready to execute nuclear attacks on NATO targets, according to leaked documents. It says Western resources have reportedly leaked Russian plans drawn up between 2008 and 2014 for a series of overwhelming strikes across Western Europe. It says, citing documents from Western security sources, Putin allegedly sought to enable the Russian Navy to execute nuclear strikes within NATO territory where a conflict with the alliance to emerge. So he charged the Russian Navy to send out. Now we just reading this at face value. Now these are supposedly leaked via a former NATO official. There's a lot of things that's classified, they become declassified later on, or Slovakia, I should say, declassified, which become revealed right later on. But or however that goes, right? The point is, it was once something that they want to keep on the wraps, and then they made it public, as this supposedly is what we have right now in our hands. But nevertheless, whether this is true or not, we know that the Most High is working on these nations, is working on these kings to bring them to battle, right? Like I said, we know this. So whether they can say this is true or not, that doesn't matter to us. It's good when we can come up with sources like this or showing, have physical sources and evidence. But at the end of the day, we have this Holy Bible, right? At the beginning, middle, and end of the day, if you got ears to hear. This is Isaiah 13 and verse 4. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts mustereth the hosts of the battle. So the Most High is always bringing these nations and gathering them to punish the world for all the evil and the wickedness that's done thereof. And what better way to do it via these nuclear missiles? What better way to do it than to bring down the most wicked kingdom of all time via the hand, right, of his damn fellow nation, right? Because at the end of the day, Russia, they're Edomites too. America's Edomites, those men that rule, of course, of America, right? America's a melting pot, but so is all these nations for the most part. All these countries, I should say. By the end of the day, when you actually look at the nations, the 18 nations that the Most High created, Esau being a so-called white man, they all over the earth, right? Ruling in America, ruling in Europe, ruling in Russia. So it says targets would not be solely military. According to William Albuquerque, a former NATO official, there could be hundreds, if not thousands, of targets mapped across Europe, including military and infrastructure targets. Russia is also evidently still capable of transporting nuclear weapons on surface ships, which experts say carries a significant risk of escalation or accident. And that's why they had this treaty back in 1991, following the fall of Soviet Union, to essentially stop the race of nuclear missiles, right? During the Cold War, the early 50s and 60s, really directly after World War II, all the way up until 1991, there was something known as a Cold War between America and Soviet Union, right? Which ultimately came about with NATO. NATO was formed to shut down the Soviet Union. So after the Soviet Union was shut down, NATO should have been dismantled, but it wasn't. And it even came to a point in 2000 that Vladimir Putin, he asked America to join NATO because he's like, what the hell is going on? Like, what's the point of a NATO still being around? Long and behold, of course, NATO was it's still here, and it's still always been, always been an active party or alliance because America wants to overthrow Russia. They don't want Russia to rule whatsoever. But we know, biblically speaking, it's going to happen. And there's nothing that America or NATO can do about it. Second Ezra, the 12th chapter, the 26th verse on down, specifically shows us that Russia will be the last of those three heads of that eagle. Revelation, the 17th chapter, the 8th verse on down. So we understand that Russia has to rule through the Spirit. Isaiah, the 13th chapter, verse 11 on down. Right? So continuing on, it says, possible targets presented by the FT included the west coast of France, military installations in Norway, Germany, Estonia, as well as the British port town of Barrow-in-Furness, known for its production of nuclear submarines. So continuing on, it says, they see tactical nuclear warheads as potentially war-winning weapons. Now, let's see something real quick. Let's go to Isaiah, right? Isaiah chapter 54 and verse number 16. Right? Because the Most High, he gets down with this. He gets down with these nuclear missiles. This is Isaiah 54 and verse 16. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work, and I have created the waster to destroy. Now let's go into the word waster. So the Most High, he gets down with the waster missile, right? Well, it didn't say missile, but let's see what he's talking about. What is the Lord talking about? The Lord said he created the waster to destroy. Now, let's come down here, right? Right? So the Most High, damn, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pull it up in this, right? But through the Spirit, we know that the Most High, he's created something known as the waster, right, in the earth. Now, okay, I can kind of see it a little bit. It says, if you jump down right towards the end, it says a destroyer, a waster, one who brings destruction on himself, one who wastes his goods, right, his own goods, right? It says a prodigal. But the point is, I wanted a man of destruction, a destroyer, a waster, one who brings destruction on himself. So when we go back to it, through the Spirit, this is Isaiah 54 and verse 16 once again. Behold, I have created the smith. Now the smith he's a worksmith. He's someone who brings forth, like it's going to mention, instruments, right? A craftsman, an artisan, an engraver, a graver, artificer, right? So, he's working, he's doing his thing. It says that blow off the coals in the fire, right? And a lot of the things they deal with is when you're sculpting things or molding things, you have to use with heat, right? You're dealing with heat, conduction. You see a lot of them, they may have on their what the hell is it called? PPE equipment, right? And they're dealing with, like I said, crafting instruments. So it says, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work, right? Whether it's whether it's glass, because they take different elements, chiefly sand, and create glass, and they whether they're welding things. A lot of welders, they have to use this. This would be another word for a welder, is a smith, right? But it says, and I've created the waster to destroy it. So the Lord is talking about a weapon that has been created in the earth that we understand is going to bring about the splitting of atoms or elements, right? So this 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 10. It says, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night. Because we can see this. Now, again, this supposedly supposed to happen in 2008 and 2014. These are big deals. I mean, 2008 and 2014, what was taking place? Obama just got in office in 2008. It was a Great Depression. Well, they called it a recession. There was a great stock market crash, and the housing market had collapsed. Times was real rough, right? What happened? You had the killing of Jake was on a rise. Then put on television week after week. Trayvon Martin, Malcolm Brown, all these different men killed. And these are just the names that we know about. The names that pop in your head when you think about police brutality. Or just quote unquote racism, quote unquote, right? Esau killing Jake, right? It says, for a series of underwhelming strikes across Western Europe. Now, if this would have happened, then prophecy wouldn't have been fulfilled. So the Most High cooled all that down. Yeah, tension was going, doing its thing, but, a whole bunch of sheep came in the fold post this era of 2014. A lot of sheep came in 2016, 2017, even during the time of C19, right? 2020. You understand? So it couldn't take place like this, but guess what? It's going to take place very soon. There will be nukes launched off by Russia onto NATO targets. That will happen, biblically speaking. This is 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 10. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the elements, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Now, what has the power to melt elements? Let's go into the word elements, right? Let's go into that word. So it says, okay, well, there's not really a definition we necessarily want, but let's read it. It says, any first thing from which the others belonging to some series or composition, or composite whole take their rise in element first principle, right? So there we go. It says the elements from which all things have come, the material causes of the universe. The material causes of the quote unquote universe. So they're talking about, again, atoms, and all those other things that we learned in damn quote unquote science, right? So-called science class. But the point is that we know this is going into fire proceeding forth on the earth and burning up the earth. And we know that these nukes, they have the capacity to do that. This is what the Most High will bring upon the earth. I mean, he's brought it on the earth already. See, at the end of World War II, America has been the only country since to launch nuclear missiles onto another nation. And they launched atom bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Japan, right? In August of 1945. So they dropped these bombs on Japan, and it hasn't been any other country to ever do so since. And these are great matters. That's a great deal, right? It's a great deal. Let's look this up real quick. Right, let's look this up real quick. Right, August 6th and August 9th, 1945. You see this right here? Right? And I mean, this is 1945. Now, this is just not a real picture. Oh, hold on. I don't know if that's a real picture right there, but I know this is a real picture. Right? That's the fat man, right, that they had. This is this is how it looked. Desolation. Destruction. All praise to the Most High. Desolation and destruction upon that filthy damn Japan. Now, like I was going to say, these nukes that these nations have now, specifically America and Russia, I mean, it's thousands of times more powerful than what this is right here. And it's like a great deal. I would not be one to stand next to that. right? Lord willing. Lord willing, I'm not standing next to a damn nuclear missile. Now, nevertheless, this brought great destruction on man. I mean, they got jammed all up. They you can see the land is desolate as we see, but they had radioactivity. It's still radioactivity, if I'm not mistaken, in that land. You can't plant no crops and grow anything in that land again. It's finished. But how much more the stuff that they have? What? Damn, what is this? 80 years later? 80 years later? 75 years later? So we living in a time of things really about to start kicking off. And like I mentioned, you got right now Ukraine, right, in curse. They invaded Russia. They have invaded Russia. 4 hours ago, it says Russia to evacuate thousands more from the cursed region. It's kind of like Putin is tucking his tail between his legs and running away. Or so you may think. See, a lot of these nations, a lot of these leaders of these nations, they play the long game. And we know that the Most High, he plays the long game. So he's put in the spirit of these leaders of the earth to get ready for real war. Yeah, these Ukrainians may be in Russia right now, but for him to evacuate thousands from that region, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we see some type of tactical nuke or some kicking off very soon. Now, great destruction won't happen in the earth until the elect is sealed, right? You won't see nukes just flying and doing this, and that won't really happen necessarily because the Lord spoke about that in Revelation, the 6th chapter and the 12th verse. But I won't be surprised if we see something take place where Putin really draws that line. Now, we get closer and closer to the peak of missiles, nuclear missiles dropping and hitting the earth. How much more are we close to Jacob's trouble? Right? How much more are we close to Jacob's trouble? And it's the book of St. Matthew, chapter 24. Actually, I want this in St. Luke. Let's go back to St. Luke 21, right? And verse, I want 9. It says, but when you shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by. Then said he unto them, nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And great earthquakes shall be in diverse places. Right? You had 1,000, I believe I just saw this report. First off, there's, about 30,000 earthquakes happened this year alone. If I'm not mistaken, from that article I saw earlier. Now, also, you had about 1,000, you got about 60,000 damn took place in America last year. 60,000 earthquakes. Right? If I'm not mistaken from those numbers, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Baba Gashad posted in the comments. But nevertheless, it's a lot of earthquakes happening at a massive rate. There's a website that tracks the latest earthquakes that's happening on Earth. Right? For sake of time, I'm not going to go into it, but it says, let's read on. It says, and great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, in famines and pestilences, in fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven. But before all these, right, before great war, before the great judgment really commences in the earth, they shall lay their hands on you and persecute you, delivering you up to the synagogues and into prisons, being brought before kings and rulers for my name's sake. And it shall turn to you for a testimony. So you got to understand that speaking on a chronological basis, right? It's another word I was trying to find, but speaking on a chronological basis, you need to have Jacob's trouble kick off, or not you need to, but the Lord will have Jacob's trouble, persecution, martial law, those type of things that mentioned chiefly over here in Babylon before the war reaches its peak, where nuclear missiles are being dropped off from nation to nation. This is known as the Great Tribulation. This is known as the abomination of desolation that Daniel spoke about in Daniel 9th chapter. So we're seeing these things reach its peak, and it may seem like, well, why isn't all hell breaking loose just yet? Well, it's because the Most High is holding these different things back. Right? So again, I didn't want to keep it too long. I wanted to provide you with the latest updates. Most High willing you was edified. Of course, we're giving all honor and glory to Yahweh by Hashem Mashiach Malaki Bashai. It's Brother Kesadi from W5 Jersey, Philly. Keep watching these last days. Kwame Sharala. Shalom.